Welcome to the latest installment of the ARIS Innovator demo series. Today, we're going to see managing documents leveraging Microsoft Office Connector. The demo series runs for 30 minutes and features all demo with no sales pitch. Each installment showcases a different capability of the ARIS platform. During the webinar, everyone is on global mute. If you have any questions, please submit them in the questions panel within GoToWebinar, and we'll answer as many as possible in our Q&A session at the end. This demo is being recorded, and when the recording is available, you'll receive an email with a link so you can share it with your colleagues or review it again for reference. We have on the line today Crystal Brandel, Product Manager here at ARIS. Crystal, take it away.
Thanks, Brenna. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for a demonstration on the Office Connector. I'm the product manager as well as a daily user of this product. Before we jump into the demo, let's first discuss document management. The out-of-the-box installation of ARIS Innovator provides the document item type, as well as file handling, standard lifecycle and workflow, change items like DCO. You can relate documents to other items, and it's also flexible and easily customizable. But often, you find that when managing your documents, it can be cumbersome and time-consuming to log into ARIS Innovator, download the file, make your changes, and then upload that new version. The Office Connector allows you to manage documents directly within your Microsoft applications without needing to open ARIS Innovator. The Office Connector has a flexible data model and file handling, so you can use any item type with different options for attaching files. But today, I will be demonstrating the Office Connector using the document item type that's out of the box that ARIS provides in your installation. And I'm also going to demo the Office Connector in Word today, but we also support Excel, PowerPoint, Visio, and Outlook. So let's first navigate to the discussion panel. And I'm logged in today as Diane. And Diane's going to start her day by viewing the activity here. She sees that Mike has requested a spec on a part. So she's going to open up Word, navigate to the ARIS ribbon, and she's going to select New ARIS Document. Now, at this time, Diane is going to authenticate. And then she'll be presented with the New ARIS Document dialog. Now, based on Diane's preferences set up by the administrator, she will have access to create certain document types. And Diane also will have the same item permissions already mapped in ARIS Innovator, so those permissions will be inherited. But before Diane can do anything, she must first select a document type. And this field is going to drive how the other properties are configured. And this is going to enforce process compliance. So because Diane needs to create a product spec, she's going to first select the document type product. Now, this document type requires a template. So Diane must select a release template to create a new document. Now, only the templates configured for this document type and identity are shown in that search dialog. And also at this point, an existing item can be linked to the document. Again, this is configured at the document type, so only the item types configured to be linked will be displayed. And since Mike made a comment on part MP0101, let's go ahead and establish that link now. We can also link items in the ribbon as well. And so if the part isn't created yet, you can still create this document and later link the part. And you can do that in the ribbon using the links option. And also, only one linked item can be set at this time. So if you have more than one item to link, you can also do that in the ribbon as well later. Now, title, file name, and document number are also configured through the document type. And these values can be pre-populated through a method or a sequence, or they can be left manual for the creator to fill out. There's also additional properties dialog that allows you to set up more properties beyond what's just listed here. So let's go ahead and add a title. We inherited the title from our template, and so let's give it a new name. And one last area to note here is for the document number search. The document type can be configured to allow the creator to search for an existing document item in Aris Innovator that doesn't already have a file attached to it. So if the document item was first created in Aris Innovator, you can still leverage that same item and not generate a new document item here. So Mike could have created the document item and made a comment there, or let Diane know that that's the document item that she can use and select it in this dialog. A document item without an attached file is actually a common use case. So another scenario could be when you create a document deliverable for a project. The resource assigned to the project activity can use the Office connector and search for that document deliverable already generated. Now, after the creator has populated all their fields and Diane is ready to go, she can click OK, and her new document file is going to be generated. Now, I want to mention that at this point, a file is created in the working directory that is set up during the Office Connector installation. So my document item hasn't been created yet in Aris Innovator, but just my file has been created. And Diane has her template for her product spec, and now she's ready to populate content into her file. Diane is likely not interacting with the Office connector at this point, and she's only using traditional Office functionality from the Word application itself. Diane can close the file and reopen it from the same working directory. So when I close this file, my connection to Aris Innovator has been broken. So notice that Diane does not need to be logged into the Office connector to edit and work with her file. Diane can work offline for as long as she needs. And now let's go back, let's edit as Diane, and let's create some content. Let's use the standard Word functionality here. And now Diane is ready to save her changes to the Aris Vault. Now, Diane at this point is only going to check in her file into the vault, and she's not done editing yet. So she'll choose Save to Aris from the ribbon. Now, remember, we lost our connection, so we'll re-log in to Aris Innovator. We'll reestablish our connection. And now, at this point, the changes are going to be saved to the database. Now, we also see that the item has been created and a document number is going to be assigned. So here we see our document number populating. And when that assignment is complete, it's going to show in the ribbon as well. Just like saving in Aris Innovator, my document item is going to be claimed. I'll let this generate. So you can also see that here, my mapped properties in my header are now established. So you can map properties manually when you create a new document, or you can map properties in your templates so that when you generate a new file, it's always creating those same property mappings in the same format using that template. So here, all of Diane's product specs are going to look the same. They're going to have the same header, provide the same property data as an Aris Innovator. And also, Diane can go ahead and make some changes to these properties depending on the mapping direction as well. Let's now revisit what happens the first time you save your document. The Save to Aris command in the ribbon creates the document container in Aris the first time it's selected. So although you've been working in your local directory, nothing is created until you hit your first Save to Aris. And this is the same behavior you'd expect when, say, creating a new part. So until you do that initial save, no new item is created in the database, just like Aris Innovator. And also at this time, the relationship to the linked item is made. After the document item is created, the file is attached to that item. And depending on your Office Connector preferences, a PDF is also generated and attached to the new document item as well. So let's go ahead, let's make a few more changes as Diane. I'm going to go to the Aris ribbon. I'm going to save. I'm going to release my claim. I'm purposely making some more versions here because I want to show you versioning later. So I'm going to actively make versions right now. I'll claim again for edit. Now let's assume that Diane is ready for Mike to review her spec. And so Diane can reply to Mike's original comment that the document's ready for review. So we'll do our last save to Aris. And now this time, we're going to unclaim the file from Diane right from the Office Connector, and then we're going to close Word. And now remember, just like part items in Aris Innovator, if I don't unclaim and I just close Word, this document item is going to actually remain claimed in Aris Innovator when I go to close it. So let's make sure we release the claim for Mike. Let's go ahead and close this document because we want to take away our authentication for Diane. And we will log out of Aris Innovator as Diane, and let's log in as Mike. Now, Mike will see Diane's reply in his discussion panel and go view the document item. So let's go ahead and find that document that we just created. And I see here my Diane spec that I just created. I'll open up my item, and now Mike has a few options here. He doesn't have to open Word and re-authenticate. Instead, Mike knows that he's viewing the item that he wants to review, and he can use this time the Open in Office functionality. And this is going to allow Mike to open the file from the Aris Vault already under the control of the Office Connector. So he doesn't need to open Word, re-authenticate, and then find that file. So let's select Open in Office. It's going to find the last file checked into the vault, and it's going to open it already authenticated. I'll show you that. I'll go to the Aris ribbon. And you're going to notice that now I'm authenticated as Mike, as I originally was when I was in Aris Innovator. We see Mike Miller here. Mike is reviewing, so Mike can either leverage the review tools directly in his Word application, or he can make some direct edits right to the file and create his own version. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to claim for edit as Mike. Mike is going to now make some edits. So let's go ahead here and say Mike edits. Now remember, Mike could be extensively editing a large document. So keep that in mind of that use case. And let's highlight him in yellow here so we can see those changes. And now when Mike is done, after days of review potentially, he can check the file back into the vault. So this time I'll show you save and close. And this is going to release Mike's claim for him. So it'll save and then release the claim. And let's assume Mike made some comments for Diane, and then we will re-log into Aris Innovator as Diane and view those updates. So notice how I'm not closing my file here. It's going to save, and it's going to close the file in Word for me. So see, my ribbon has no information. My file is closed. I'm still authenticated though as Mike. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close Word, and by closing the application, it'll disconnect that connection there. Let's log out as Mike. Mike is all set with his review process. And I'm going to re-log in as my spec creator, Diane. And now the document type here is configured to generate a PDF on every save automatically. So when Diane selects the PDF viewer, she can see Mike's last changes. So let's go ahead and we're going to open up her document. We'll see Diane's spec here. And now I can use my viewer functionality if I'd like to review the document directly within Aris Innovator. I see Mike's edits. It's the PDF of the last file checked in. Now, Diane at this point could also quickly launch the file using Open in Office, or she can open it from the ribbon in Word. So since I haven't shown you that yet, let's go ahead and work on that use case. So I'm going to open up my Word application again. I'm going to go to the Aris ribbon. I'm going to select Open. I'm going to authenticate as Diane. Now notice how much time is saved with Open in Office, but this is also a way to open up the file as well. I'm going to search for my file. And now this is a large document, so maybe all of Mike's changes might not be obvious. Or maybe Mike didn't make his changes using the Word review tools. So on every claim and save, a new version is generated, and we can leverage that functionality and compare the files to see what Mike changed. So let's do that. Let's select Browse Versions. This is going to list all of the versions. I'm going to go ahead and select one of the last versions, and I'm going to compare it to the current because I already have my current file open. Now, what's going to happen here is 2 more files are going to open. Diane's file version opens that I selected, as well as a 3rd file. And this is going to show the differences highlighted in red and underlined. So now I can review using the Aris Office connector and see what those changes were made, because it's going to do a version check against each file and produce this 3rd copy, which is going to show me those edits. So now let's close out these extra files. I'm going to close out my comparison file. I won't save that. And we want to go back to Mike's last file, but maybe we're not sure what that is because we have a couple versions opened here. So we have some helpful tools here to show you what the latest file is. Notice how I'm on Diane's last version, version 2, and how Get Latest Version is highlighted here. So if at any point I'm not sure I'm working on the latest file, I can always get back to the original file that I wanted or the last one checked in by selecting Get Latest Version, which will launch that file. I also see that this is not the latest version because I have a gray status, which says that it's not the latest. So now notice when I go back to version 3, which is Mike's version, I have a green status and my Get Latest Version is not available to select. Now we've been opening and closing a lot of files, different users have been editing, and we've been doing a lot of context switching today. And this is of course very common in your day-to-day. So since documents can be worked on sporadically and by many users, ARIS has extensive error checking to ensure that the user is always working with the intended version. So let me demonstrate an example. I'm going to go ahead and I'm not claimed. I'm going to log out. So let me go to session. Let me log out as Diane. I'm still going to pretend here to be Diane though. I'm still have my Diane hat on. And I'm going to make some local changes. Now I'm disconnected from Office Connector, from the ARIS Vault. Diane's going to make some changes locally. I will highlight that so we can easily see. And now instead of saving to ARIS, I'm going to save locally using the save command of the Word application. Now my file is saving, but it's saving in the working directory, not back to the ARIS Vault. And remember, when I created the file using the new ARIS document, it stored it in my working directory. So anytime I save in the Word application, it's always going to save that file in the same directory, and my file's path has never changed. So now my local file and my file last checked into ARIS Innovator don't match. Let's close Word. We'll reopen it and we will re-authenticate as Diane. So now I've saved locally. I'm going to close that file. I'm going to reopen. Actually, let me show you using my working directory. So I could even just go into the working directory and launch the file here. So now let's go to ARIS and let's go ahead and save to ARIS. Now I'm going to re-authenticate. And now this local file is going to save back to ARIS Innovator because it knows that by the error checking that this was the latest file that you were working on. So let's briefly highlight again the benefits of using the Office Connector now that you've seen it. So first, the Office Connector supports process compliance through the same standards and regulations as ARIS Innovator. It supports policies and procedures, it provides history and revisions, and it allows the admin to set up access control depending on the authenticated user. Templates can be created and made mandatory to ensure that the process is compliant as well. And end users also experience productivity improvements. They can remain in their Microsoft Office application and not need to context switch back and forth to ARIS Innovator. Within the Office Connector ribbon, users can link to existing items, comment in visual collaboration, they can promote, browse document versions, and even change properties. And lastly, security enforcement. So the same authentication and permissions in ARIS Innovator are also used in the Office Connector, ensuring that your data is protected while being viewed outside of the web client. That is Office Connector. Thank you for your time and attention today. I'll send it back to you, Brenna.
Thank you, Crystal. Make sure to enter in any questions you have into the questions panel. We already have a few submitted questions. Does Save to ARIS create a new generation?
It does, yeah. So when the new generations are typically created when you promote, and new versions are created when you save and when you unlock or when you remove the claim. So whatever the functionality that you have set up, and it is configurable in ARIS Innovator, it's going to maintain that same configuration whatever you do in the ribbon.
Can properties from linked items be mapped?
No, they cannot, but you can link those items back to from item to item relationship. So I do believe that either support or community might have a solution to directly map properties from other items, but in the out-of-the-box installation, you can only map the properties from the document item type or whatever your item type you're using that's configured with the Office Connector. And so, for example, one helpful property mapping is subject, right? You can map anything back into the original subject document property that you can write from the ribbon. And so anything you put in there, you can write notes, you can add any descriptions, and then when you save, it can save it back to the ARIS Innovator. And we support bidirectional property mapping too. I briefly mentioned that, but you can either support the mappings that you can update in ARIS Innovator that the ribbon will pull in, or you can update in your Word application in the ribbon, and then that will get pulled into ARIS Innovator. So you can do both of those bidirectional, and you can do them at the same time too. So the same properties can go both ways.
Thank you, Crystal, and thank you for your questions. For any we didn't answer, they will be addressed directly within the next few days. And as a reminder, this demo was recorded, and when the recording is available, you'll receive an email with the link so you can review it again for reference. I'm going to leave you with our upcoming demo series topics. On February 27th, there will be a demonstration on ARIS Requirements Engineering, making requirements part of the digital thread. And then on March 26th, there will be a demonstration on workflows that work for you. You can register for upcoming demos and view any past demos at aris.com/demoseries. We'd love for you to join the ARIS community at community.aris.com. There you'll find blogs, community projects, and forums, all with a lot of great information. Be sure to connect with ARIS on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where we share the latest updates and news, product information, and more. Finally, don't miss our annual ACE conference this March in Boston. We'd love to see you there to answer your questions, get your feedback, and take the opportunity to network with the ARIS community, the ARIS team, our partners, and more. I'd like to extend an exclusive discount code to you. Enter the code DEMO10 when registering to receive 10% off. We thank you for joining us today and look forward to having you next time. Have a great day.